This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by former WBO World Cruiserweight Champion Johnny Nelson here in London. Johnny, always a pleasure. How is life treating you since I last saw you?
All good, all good. We're here in London at York Hall. It's odd to be here when it's not a fight. The ring's up, the fans aren't here, the press are here, the fighters are here. It's nice to be back in the mix.
Caroline Dubois returned. She's always impressed when she steps between the ropes. Johnny, will she impress you again on Saturday night?
I believe so. I think she's the heir apparent. I think she will handle this next stage in her career well. It's not about just getting in there with the opponents, about being able to handle the pressure of being the main attraction. Some people can't deal with that. And so I think Caroline takes it in a stride. It's just adding building blocks to a fighter's style of career.
Caroline comes through unscathed. She has a hand raised. I know there's all that talk about her being able to be moved at a quicker pace, talking about Michaela Mayer and what have you, for example. I know Mayer's moved up, but how far off do you feel she's from facing somebody of that ilk?
Within a year, because it's going to get to the point where opponents are going to be few and far between, and Caroline has the eagerness and confidence enough to get in there with the fighters that have done it ahead of her. But she's saying, well, it's my turn now. She respected them, the position they're in. It's my turn now. And that's who she is, and I actually like that.
Callum Simpson, a fellow Yorkshire boy, he's making his ring return. In an interesting fight, I speak to a few people around here, they said they wouldn't be surprised if an upset was caused.
Well, you've got to put yourself in positions where there's risk. Because if there's no risk, there's no reward. So the reward is, you've got to, it's going to improve an aspect of his fight game, getting in with a dangerous opponent that the fans don't actually appreciate how dangerous he is. And that's a hard thing when you're getting there sometimes with a fighter and people don't realise how dangerous they are. It's hard, but they're what builds your foundations as a fighter. So again, Callum, hungry, good attitude, on and off camera, lives the game, loves the game. So again, I think it's a good fight. I think it's a great opportunity for all the undercard involved to get that next step coming through.
Johnny, there's a show clash this weekend because over in Wembley, Matchroom have Opetaia versus Jordan Thompson headlining your old division. Will Jordan upset the odds?
Jordan Thompson boxing for the IBF title. He has everything going for him: height, reach, boxing ability. It's an ask. It's a big ask, but it's a possible ask. I'm gutted. If you're a fight fan, you're gutted because you've got so much choice. But again, I always hope the Brit pulls it off. Always, no matter who they're with, no matter what promotion outfit they're with. I love the fact that Brits get the opportunity to pull it off and bring the jewels back here. So I hope Jordan pulls it off. He's a nice kid.
There's another show clash on October 21st. Catrol Linares from Matchroom will be show clashing with Buatsi-Azeez, just on Buatsi-Azeez front as we draw ever closer. What's your thoughts on it?
Buatsi-Azeez, it's hard because on paper you're gonna lean towards Buatsi because he has a proven track record. Azeez is the one that's coming through, where the question marks are still there. But actually, that's a good position to be in because you're looking, thinking, well, you know what? You're not sure what he can do, what he can't do, what he has and what he hasn't got. So, but I think that's a good fight. I think it's a really good fight. And Azeez, don't write him off. Yard came into Sky saying he wants to fight the winner, which was nice to see it coming from the lion's mouth. So now there's possibilities, but what's happening is the public and everybody's forgetting about Azeez. The winner might be Azeez. So it's good to look forward to and excited to get with.
Johnny, this past weekend we saw the return of Conor Benn out in Florida. Did you watch his performance?
I did watch his performance. Talking about his performance, I've always said Conor Benn is forever improving fighter, regardless of the issues outside of the ring. As a fighter, as a performance, I thought his performance was good. He's got to deal with the issues outside the ring. The one thing I'll tell you before people start kicking and screaming saying, how can you say that, Nelson? Drugs do not make you a better fighter. Might make you stronger, might help you lose weight, might make you, I don't know, go a little further, but it don't make you a boxing Einstein overnight. I boxed 3 drug cheats and beat him. So if you're shocked at the fact that we're commenting on his performance instead of vilifying him, you're asking me about his performance. The moral side of it about the failed drug test, that has to be dealt with by the board and however they deal with it, by the governing bodies however they deal with it. But our sport needs to make sure they put their shit in order because we're shooting ourselves in the foot if we don't do it correctly.
Some people critical of his performance, suggesting maybe his power didn't carry up from 147 to 154.
I wasn't critical of his performance. I thought his performance on.
Did his power carry up for you?
His power didn't carry up, but what I'm saying, he was in there with a tough cookie that could take a shot. But I wasn't. I thought his performance was pretty cool. He boxed well. Good volume of shots, so not at all.
Obviously, a lot of talk about that potential fight with Chris Eubank Jr. The version of Jr. that fought Liam Smith, the version of Conor that just fought this past weekend. What are your thoughts on that fight?
Conor's been out for quite a while, so that might not be the version that represents Conor Benn. Eubank adapts his style to whoever's in front of him, like he did with Liam Smith, to get the win back. It's a lovely fight. Will it happen next? No, it won't happen next until Conor's situation's been sorted out, because I'm quite sure there'd be a knock-on consequences for Eubank if he did do that, and this is where the problem lies. But until then, you know, Eubank's in a position where the world's his oyster. He can pick who he wants, when he wants, how he wants. And so I think, even though Eddie says we're interested in a Eubank fight, words cheap, he ain't going to happen next. You know, won't happen next unless there's a miraculous turnaround for the boxing board of control.
Even though Junior's a promotional, a broadcast free agent, obviously he's tied in promotionally with Wasserman. Where do things stand on a potential Cal Brook fight? Obviously, you know Cal, somebody you speak with regularly, you're close with. Cal Brook and Junior, anything going on there?
No comment.
You gotta give me more than that, Johnny, because it's clearly there's something going on.
Oh, man, I can't. No comment. I can't say no. I can't. I ain't saying shit.
Still looking likely that Brook returns in.
Let's just say Junior's in a great position to choose who he wants, and that's what he's doing.
Johnny, I can see I won't pry much more out of you, but just a few other fights I'll get your thoughts on coming up. We had the Regis-Prograis, Devin Haney fight announced. Your thoughts on that fight?
Wow, I know. That's a good fight. I think Devin Haney, you're going to look at him and think, shit, Devin, they're done. We've seen Regis on these shows before, but I think it's a good fight. It's a good clash. It's a familiar fight for the fans. I'm interested in it. It'll be good.
Who do you slightly favour?
Haney. I'm going towards Haney. I think Prograis, we've seen his best, and he's a good, clever fighter, but I think I've got to go with Haney.
Bam Rodriguez and Sonny Edwards doing their press tour as well.
Sonny Edwards every day of the week. My man's a don. He's the most underrated champion out there. Sonny's a proper don. He lives, eats, sleeps, breathes boxing. He's such a clever, articulate, when you're talking the fight game, fighter that he's got is Sonny Edwards. Don't even ask me that question. That's a done deal.
Zhang victorious over Joe Joyce this past weekend as well. What did you make of his stoppage victory against Joe?
It's a fight game, man. You know, and one shot changes everything, and it kills and shatters so many dreams. And so shit happens, man. Shit happens.
Tony Bellew, former cruiserweight fellow of yours, he's come out saying that without that chin that Joe Joyce has, that air of invincibility, maybe he's not above a British level fighter.
I think that was a bit harsh, but I can understand why Tony said it, because Joe gets hit far too easy, far too often, and if you've not got a chin, you're done. You're in the wrong game. So I'm just saying, maybe he just met his bogeyman. That'll beat him 99 times out of 100. So to write him off like that is a bit harsh. Let's just wait and see what happens when he fights somebody else. And every fight, Joe will be thinking now, am I chinny? Can I take a shot on the chin? So Joe's got to figure that out first. If his chin's gone, then he's in the wrong game. But it's just a bit harsh to say it has gone.
A lot of people in boxing would love to travel to the Bird's Nest in China and watch Zhang Jilei against a British heavyweight. Anthony Joshua's name's been mentioned. I know Zhang's got a deal with Queensbury now, but your thoughts on Joshua-Zhang, if a deal could be agreed, what would be your take on that?
I don't think Zhang beats any of the top four. I don't think he beats any of them. I think he gives them all hellfire and makes it a hard night's work for them, but he doesn't beat any of the top four.
Right, Johnny, I know I've taken about 9 minutes and you've got to shoot off now. Do your Sky responsibilities, so thanks for speaking to me. I'll see you soon.
No problem.